What's up, Norberg Nation? How's it going? Today we are going to be reviewing that crazy race where I had a bad start at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Before we get into that, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot knowing that you guys support the videos that I put out. Now, let's get right into that race review. So we're starting this race on the outside in second place, and honestly this first corner is flat out, so my goal honestly was just to try and hold the leader down and maybe, pinch that guy in third down to the point where I could just kind of fall in. Obviously that does not happen. I get run out really wide immediately. The guy in second, the guy in fourth, he was not really pushing me. He was just kind of laying back and trying to get this jump. So he got a good jump around me and was able to slot into the third spot. But that really pushed me out to the outside. And you can see obviously right now that I'm just getting run out wide. This is a really important thing for young drivers to learn, is that it doesn't matter where you start, you have to always remember the fundamentals of karting. And so the first thing that happened is obviously I didn't get a good start, right? We have to block that out and just kind of get back into racing mode and understand that we're on the outside now. And so what we really need to do is look over our shoulder and make sure we're not going to get cleaned out by any of the drivers coming through. And so that's what I immediately started doing. As soon as that driver got to my inside, I realized, okay, didn't get a good start. Let's look over my shoulder and make sure we don't get knocked off the racetrack and have more damage than we already have already, right? Let's try and salvage what we can. So we get off of that. You can just see there's more drivers just coming through, and I'm just looking over my left shoulder and just making sure that I don't have any more contact. Right here, I actually brake in this part of the corner because of that 301. And again, this is just experience, but you can see my head is looking to the left, and I can see there's drivers coming through with more momentum. And so as I was coming out of this corner, a little bit earlier in this corner, I noticed the 301's coming out really quick. And so I actually brake at this point of the corner to stop getting up to his sidewalk, because I can see he's going to come through and he would just wipe me out on the exit of the corner. And so that's stuff that you're just paying attention to, and it really helps if you're, you understand where you are in the race. You understand that you didn't get the best start, but you're looking over your shoulder and you're remembering those fundamentals about being on the outside. You have to make sure you're paying attention to the momentum of the other drivers coming through, and you're just keeping your head up so that you don't have more damage than you should have had. So now we're getting going again, and yeah, we fall back to about 19th, I think. Obviously, if there's more drivers in the field, you could end up falling back even worse. So it's really important that you just make sure that you minimize the damages that happen in situations like that. But at this point, I think we're back into 18th or something close to that. Right now, it's just damage control, but mainly you have to keep your head in the race, right? We're picking up drivers that are kind of going off the racetrack. We're picking up spots here and there. But we have to remember, okay, we might have had a bad start, but these races are long. You never know what could happen. We just got to keep our head in it. Right now, even though we started second, honestly, it's more like we just started 18th. Like, we just have to keep our head up and make sure we're making good moves. And right there, you can see there's a couple drivers got together, keeping my head up, staying out of trouble, getting back through. Pointed at them like, let's go, let's try and run these guys down. But yeah, that's the goal. And so that's the major thing that a lot of drivers forget, is when they get far in the back after maybe having a bad start, they really just kind of panic and they go to, let's throw everything out the window. I got to Superman this to get back up. That's not always the case, right? If the race comes to you, it comes to you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's just going to be the way that it is. And so you just got to be smart, remember the fundamentals of racing. Make clean passes, make passes that don't cost a lot of time, try and make sure you don't get a pushback, and let's try and catch down the leaders if we can. Right now I catch 392. The hardest part about this is that all the corners where there's a good passing zone, everybody blocks, which is this corner. Everybody tends to block. But again, from my experience in the last lap around here, I figured out that, if you just kind of keep your head up and let the drivers kind of, move around a little bit, you can pick up one or two spots. I got another spot right there. The 301, though, I noticed he's coming across the racetrack really fast and aggressive. So I'm going to give him a little bit of space here, just because I'm not sure necessarily what he's going to do. He's being a little erratic. And so right here, he opens up, swings down to the inside, and just kind of moves two drivers out of the way for me. So that was really good. But that's another thing you have to be really attentive to when you're coming through the field. You're dealing with a bunch of different drivers, dealing with all the drivers basically. And so you really have to keep your eyes up and make sure you're not putting yourself in a bad spot that, again, is going to compromise your race. He opened up for that corner. Yeah, and in your head, you can just go there and go, okay, he opened up for the corner, let me throw it in late. But because I was paying attention to how he was driving earlier, I knew he was being really aggressive. He was driving drivers, you know, he's a little bit more aggressive. He's swerving across the racetrack really fast. So I was able to stay out of that, and that allowed me to make up 2 spots instead of crashing with him and maybe, you know, losing, you know, more positions that I already have. Right now we're catching the 345, and again, we're just trying to make clean passes through here. I'm not sure what happened here because I catch the 345 and he immediately starts blocking. You know, it's one of those things that happens. I don't know why necessarily he's choosing the block because we're like in 14th right now. 2 drivers go off there, so that was another good spot. I get the over under here, and I just kind of wave at him like, dude, like let's try and catch the guys in front here because we're not really doing a whole lot blocking for 14th. Luckily, he doesn't block anymore. We're able to get the pass, and then we're able to run down some more of these guys. The big thing, again, I've talked about it in other videos when I'm coming to the field, but I like to keep an eye on the leaders just because, you know, it helps give you some motivation if they are racing, but also it helps you kind of understand how you should, you know, attack some of these guys. You know, maybe you should be a little bit more desperate. If the drivers are racing really hard up front, maybe, you know, it'll pay a lot more if we can get up quickly. Other times, maybe we should be a little bit more relaxed, right? Maybe we need to play this race a little bit different. So right now I'm seeing the leaders are racing. The one driver that I was racing with all week, the 302, he's not checking out, which I thought he would. And so that's good for me at this point because I'm going, okay, wow, I actually have a shot. I'm also really quick at this point. And so I'm looking at it and going, maybe I do have a shot at this race in the end anyways. That's the lead group right there. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a possibility that I can still catch them up, especially if they keep racing as hard as they are. And with my pace, I definitely think I have a good shot at that. And so, again, I like to keep an eye on the leaders just because that helps me, you know, get an idea where, you know, I should make passes, how aggressive I should be, and really if I should fight people, if I should defend. You know, it just helps you get an idea of how you should attack the race. A couple laps have gone by, and we've caught the 388. Again, you're looking ahead at the leaders and you're seeing that they are racing. They're honestly starting to train up right now. I mean, that's 1 through 7 right there is all in a train. I'm in 9th at this point. 388's there. I want to get by him because I want to be that first driver to catch this train because you never know what happens. You know, when they get, you know, together, you want to be able to take advantage of opportunities. Go to the inside there. He lets me have a lot of space at the inside. So at this point, I'm in a good spot and a bad spot. You're at the back of the train and you have a driver behind you, so you're really kind of stuck because you can't necessarily set up so much. You can set up a little bit, especially if the driver gives you a little bit of space behind you, but when you're in these pushback trains, is what I like to call them, you kind of get stuck having to defend with the guys in front of you. And so right now, obviously, it's just a train of drivers. Nobody wants to get a pushback, so they're not really pushing the guy in front, but they're also just, you know, defending for the guy behind. So we're all just kind of stuck here. The driver right there, he waves. I assumed he was saying, like, let's not block, you know, try not to pass me because I'm going to try and set up a move here, which I was okay with. A lot of the time, you know, the drivers kind of ask for, like, hey, you know, I'm going to try and set this guy up, you know, give me a little bit of space and come with me. And that works, you know, because when you get in these trains, you kind of do have to almost team up a little bit to get by guys that are blocking. Again, the big thing I'm focusing on here is, like, trying not to get a pushback because these trains are so dangerous and everybody's braking so hard in these weird awkward corners. Even this first corner here, later in the race, they start braking through the first corner, which is a flat out corner, and so it's causing a lot of, you know, opportunities where you end up getting pushbacks because of it. But again, everybody's just kind of going to the inside. I'm trying to work with the 303 if it's possible, just because, you know, he said he kind of wanted to, but then again, I just got stuck in a train there. I didn't get the run. 388 got me around the outside. I tried to get both them. You know, when he tried to throw it up the inside there, didn't have enough space, and so I ended up losing a position. And that's the tough spot about, you know, these trains is that they end up causing you to, you know, get in positions like that where, yeah, you end up getting passed around the outside because you're just stuck in this like ongoing, just kind of bumper cars basically. So again, they're you know, blocking down the inside. I'm trying to get a good run. I get a run off the straightaway here, but you know, we're on such a high sprocket, a big sprocket, you kind of chip out. You hit the rev limiter too quick. And so there you see all the guys broke in the first corner, and that's why it kind of caught me off guard there, because they all broke in the flat out corner. And again, we're just stuck in this weird spot. We're getting opportunities there. 364 kind of goes wide, and so we're able to get one spot there. It's kind of clearing up. In these moments, you want to see some space between drivers. So even though maybe the leader gets ahead a little bit, it helps it out a little bit because it helps get that accordion effect out of the way. You see right here, these drivers started to battle. The leaders got away a little bit. Late pass there, which ran that driver off the racetrack, and I was able to get two drivers there basically in two corners, which was really nice. And then again, the leaders have a big gap, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in this case, because 303 is left with the option of either just defend the whole time and hold on to third and let the leaders get away, or he has to open up and actually try to run down the leaders. And so at this point, he's in a tough spot where he's going to have to open up. He's going to have to open up for a corner here. We get the halfway, flags there. I go to the inside here. He kind of defends late, but we had some good speed, and we were able to just kind of move through this. And like I said, just trying to run down the leaders at this point. Again, the driver who's in first right now, he's been fast all week, and so I'm really hoping, like, of all things, I'm like, just please don't check out. But again, we have great speed, and so it's really one of those things where we just have to, like, do some laps and run them down. At this point, I'm about a second and a half back, and I know it's a big ask to make this gap up if they are quick, because right now they're just pushing together. So ideally, I can run them down and challenge for the win. 4 or 5 laps have gone by, and I've started to catch the lead 2 drivers. The problem is the 311, he's looking back a lot, so he understands that I'm catching very fast. And so I really anticipated him throwing a move in pretty late because he saw me coming. And right here, I think he signals to me that he's going to make a move late, which he's pretty far back, which I was surprised about that he would have that option. So he goes in really late there and kind of doors the leader. And so at this point, I was able to get an over-under on the 302. He pinched me a little bit right here, but we just had the momentum off the corner that we were able to get a good run. The thing is, the 311, he's obviously been racing really hard, and he saw the momentum I had. The 302 didn't really see that I was there, and so I know he's going to defend as soon as he got into the lead. It's one of those things now where it's like, obviously we're not going to get him on the way into the corner, we're going to have to do it on the exit. And so we're really going to have to try and set up so that we can get a better exit than him, but also not lose a position to the driver of the 302 behind me. And so it's this weird balance that you have to play, because right there, obviously, he blocked and I blocked, and then I just got over-undered by the 302. And so the 302 and I are in this spot where we're just kind of like trading passes, trying to get to the inside of the 311. Again, he's defending really hard. Right here, I was like, if they get in a little too deep, maybe I can get the over-under. I'm going to try and go to the inside here. That didn't necessarily work. I set up a little bit. The problem that we're having now is we're stacking up like this. The drivers are just, we're like 3 seconds off the pace. So the drivers behind are closing like rapidly. And so at this point, there's a driver behind me on my bumper. We go into this first corner, and again, he's going to brake in this flat-out corner, the leader is. And so that really, I had to go to the outside to kind of avoid that. The driver goes up to my inside, tries to run me a little bit wide there. We were able to hold the position and give me enough room. I kind of tapped my helmet, like, let's try and catch these guys. Again, because he wanted to work together earlier, I was like, let's work together here and see if we can maybe do something and get away from both of these guys. The 302 goes to the outside here, gets run off the racetrack, and now I'm going to try, my turn again at the 311. He's defending really hard, and so it's one of those things where we've got to be careful. I get a good run there. He kind of chops me down. I'm not necessarily sure because I didn't have like the best run, but it was a bit of an aggressive move. But that's one of the things that you have to, just kind of erase and get back in it, because in races like this where there is a driver up front that's kind of stopping everybody, you just got to get back in it and roll the dice again, because it's one of those things that you never know what's going to happen. Especially, again, they're braking in a flat-out corner here. It's going to bring you back into the race pretty quick. Right there, I tried to go to the inside of 388, and I think this is one of the big mistakes I made. I didn't never get a great pass on the 388, and that really stopped me from catching back up to that top 3. It's getting to the end of the race. The lead, the flagman just gave like a 5 to go signal, and so it's one of those things where it's like, I need to get back into that front pack, because they're racing somewhat difficult, but the drivers that are behind them aren't necessarily that fast. And so the leader's actually able to kind of set up for the corners again, and their pace isn't that slow. Now, he's blocking still, and so we still have the opportunity to get back in the race, but it doesn't work, as easy. And so the 388 there, I tried to go to the inside again. I wasn't necessarily all the way there, so I gave him some space. And yeah, I mean, I probably should have made a better pass. I kind of signaled him. We get the 2 to go here, and I'm like, let's try and catch these guys because they're just racing so hard up front. And if he races like that again, we're gonna be able to catch back up. And I'm signaling to him like, come on, man, let's try not to block so much. He misses the corner there, but at this point, we're a bit too far back that I see why he's defending right here. So it's like I understand that he's just kind of at this point holding on to position, because the likelihood that we catch this top 3 is not that likely. And so yeah, right there I get kind of pushed around from the guy behind me, and I'm just like, that's just more the frustration with the race, because we worked really hard to get back into the race. To be back in 5th is a bit frustrating. But that's the thing is, the race ends pretty much right there. We end up in the 5th spot. We kind of defend the last lap, but that's pretty much it. But that's the thing about racing. When you have a bad start, when you get knocked off or anything, you've got to have a short memory for it and just really focus on the fundamentals of racing. Keep your head up. Look over your shoulder. Make sure you're not putting yourself in a worse position just because you're frustrated. The start is a perfect example. I was stuck on the outside, and honestly, what you want to do is just keep your foot in it and really just fight those drivers up the inside of you and just make sure they can't get any position. But what would have happened is I would have knocked me off more, and the way that track is designed, you never know, you could have ended up in the wall. And so it's one of those things that, yes, it's a bad start, but make sure you get going again. Keep your nose clean. Let's get back in the race. I've raced so many races now where these 20-lap finals, you never know what's going to happen. So you have to keep your head in it, because you could be back in the race. I was back in that top group by halfway through the race. So that just shows you that I was able to go from 19th to the top 5 in 10 laps. It can happen. And so especially if you have speed or you're up front, don't let it get to your head. Stay calm and just try to get back through the race and make something happen. But that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you guys think I did wrong in those last couple laps that, maybe would have changed my race. Maybe I could have won the race, but let me know down below what you guys think. Once again, please make sure to pick up your Norberg Nation merch. It helps me out a lot to see you guys at the racetrack supporting my channel and supporting me as a driver. If you guys want any coaching by me, any one-on-one coaching on the racetrack, please make sure to check out the Norberg Karting Academy. That is a place where I get the opportunity to coach you guys one-on-one, and it's a really fun experience, so make sure you guys check that out. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.